Hey everyone, I just wanted to upload another drawing that I've done. I started on this drawing a long time ago, um, maybe not a long time ago. Um, I believe it was way earlier this year, and wasn't, I was really, really happy with it when I first started. Um, and his hand was huge and his head was small and it just didn't look right. It didn't work. And I sort of noticed that right away. And I adjusted it. So this here, what you see at the beginning, it was already adjusted once and kind of like a big adjustment too. I am not good with like the hand to face size, even though like there's so many ways out there to sort of determine like how big it should be, like the hand should be. Um, but it just was still too small or too big, I guess, and his head was too small. So I was thinking about it a lot because I like this character. This is one of my characters because I make characters and I just wanted to work on fixing that piece for him. And I went in with like making a skull. I tried so many different things to try to figure out where things should go. And I think his jaw came out too wide for at least for how I see it. But I'm not displeased with it. I do think he has a more slender face than I made, but it's I like it. Um I really like the colors I chose for him. He's supposed to have brown eyes, but I went in and made this very like honey yellow kind of eye. I don't know. I just thought it was great. Um, so this character, I guess I'll tell you a little bit about the character while I'm like trying to figure out the face there. His name is Manuel. Which I picked out this name like forever ago. I made this character a while ago. He's kind of a side character for another character I made. And I just thought Manuel was a really cool name. And through utilizing this character and telling people about him and stuff like that, people started calling him Manny for short. So he goes by Manny more often, or at least I call him Manny more often. And oh man, that's so uneven. He is a creature. Like he's not really even human, which I think sort of explains why he looks very Caucasian, and has a name that isn't usually used for people who are Caucasian. When I made him, he was like a creature, like a dark creature that had no real shape or form. And with that, he, like how do you name something that doesn't have any sort of shape or form? You just give him a cool name. So his whole thing is, oh gosh, just telling my stupid stories on the internet. Here we go. All right. I am more nervous about telling about my dumb stories than showing the drawing. So, in short, it's this little girl, and her name is Maggie, and I should probably do a piece of artwork of her and upload her. And she gets involved with this sort of other world, and it's kind of very Alice in Wonderland, very Silent Hill. It's supposed to be very scary. It's a scary story. I like scary stories the most. And her sort of, I don't want to say guide. Guide isn't really a good word. He just kind of hangs out and is interested in her because she's human, and she's interested in him because he's a creature and he understands how this world works while she's trying to figure it out. And she just sort of explores that world. She has like her, goals and stuff. And It's just, I don't know. It's a long story. Um, I don't even know how to explain it. So, when I was playing them, okay, I'm just gonna say I role play because I'm a giant nerd. So I started playing her somewhere, and I wanted to play him to kind of tell the story a little bit better because he understands his world. This is where he's from. So I had to make him look like a person just so I could get him in the game that I played him in. And I never really play blonde characters, which is weird because I'll make a choice of like, oh, I never play blonde characters. And then I make like a whole bunch of blonde characters. So I have like 3 blonde characters now, and they all wear glasses. So I don't know. So Manny is supposed to wear glasses, because when he made his form, he had to pick from things that he's already seen. He couldn't just, he's kind of like a shapeshifter or a mimic, which is one of my favorite sort of creatures. And I feel like they're completely underutilized. I think mimics need to be represented more than just treasure boxes in dungeons. Which also, there's a new Pokemon coming out, or depending on when you watch this, there was a new Pokemon called Mimikyu or Mimiku or something like that. And they're a mimic, essentially. And I love it. I should probably do a Mimikyu. Yeah. So I guess the easiest way to describe what he is and what his powers are based off of what a mimic can do. So he can't just take form. He has to sort of know what he's mimicking. So to build his own face, he took this person's eyes, this person's hair, this person's skin, this person's, voice. And I think it was like he took the hair of a dancer. And I just thought that was really great. And I figured, like, he never really said it outright, but I think he took, like, a woman's hair. And I know, like, guys can have long hair. Like, that's not a big deal. But I just had this, like, idea that he doesn't care about gender. It doesn't make sense to him. So he just saw someone's hair and he loved it. So he's like, I want that hair. And he gave himself that hair. So he dresses kind of nice. But he doesn't really understand fashion. So he just kind of wears whatever looks good. And looks clean and what other people seem to be wearing. And I just see him wearing a lot of like blazers and shirts that aren't buttoned all the way. Yeah. So I'm not really good at collars. And that's another thing, is I really need to practice making collars of different kinds. It's something that I just don't really understand how it sort of sits. So I feel like this is definitely a lot better than what it was before. And it took, oh my god, like his lips, I was trying to make it so he didn't have like super lipsticky looking lips, but I wanted them to pop. Learning as I go. And I ended up really liking it. And just like his jaw, like I don't see his lips like that. And it's really hard when you don't have reference. And I didn't want to use a specific reference for him. I really wanted to try to capture what he looked like in my mind. And I think this is pretty close. I'm really happy about that. I gave him big bushy eyebrows too. I really like drawing big bushy eyebrows. I like giving characters big bushy eyebrows. I think it's really, really great. Yeah. So working on the eye. So the detail in the eye is really, like, I wanted it to show, but I didn't want it to be overdone. And what it is, it's the inner darkness. It's what he actually is. He's like this sort of smoky creature. And this is one of the reasons why I gave him a cigarette is he adores the smoke. He connects with it. And it's this whole plot that he's like sort of stuck in this form, this human form, and he's trying to figure out how to be a human. I'm kind of a sucker for that. I'm a sucker for monsters. I really love monsters of different kinds. And what better, what better monster than man, because of, they could be anybody. And I had some trouble here with the eyes, going in, fixing things. And then I actually forgot to put, like, the shine back into his eyes, which looked really, really bad. I think I went and put it in later. And his eyes weren't as, like, honey yellow as I wanted them to be. Which is another thing I ended up going back in and fixing. And then the eyebrows, I wanted to make it look like there was a bit of texture there. But I think at far away you lose it a little bit. And his skin's really, really peachy, like really pink, which, again, I think is okay. I'm not terribly worried about it. I'm just going in and fixing all these little spots that are missing, cleaning up lines and such, and making sure everything looks okay. Drawing pectoral muscles is like really, really weird. So there's just this line. I have no idea what I'm doing there, but I'll figure it out if I just keep working at it. And then drawing the cigarette. That was the other thing this character really he's kind of like a hedonist now that he's stuck in a human form. He just is like, oh, let me try that. I want to try this. So I figured what's one of the most unnecessary things you can do, and that's smoking, especially if you were never in a situation where you felt like peer pressure at a young age or some such. And he just saw them. He wanted to try them. He saw the smoke, so he smokes. I like the aesthetic of smoking. I don't at all condone smoking. I think if you smoke, you do you. But I would never say ever to start smoking. It's really detrimental to your health. And it smells bad. It really smells bad. And I would imagine his apartment, because he has an apartment, because why not? His apartment smells really, really bad because it smells like smoke, because he doesn't think to open the windows or anything like that. Going in and putting in the shadows. I always get super nervous when I start putting in the shadows. I worry that they don't look right. It's, you want to go, kind of dramatic with the shadows so you can really get the shapes and the depth, but then it's a little nerve-wracking. So I used a softer brush, and then I go in with the darker shadows and do those in blue. So I do my first shadows in red and then my second shadows in blue. I found that those two colors work really well because blue is really dramatic as a shadow, and then you kind of get like a realistic sort of lively color. I don't really know how to explain it. It's kind of how you do the underpainting and then you see some red shining through. It's like you got veins and blood down there, and yeah, you just want to make sure things look lively, I guess. This recording isn't as good as some of the other ones, so I apologize, and thank you for listening. And I love characters. I love making characters, so thank you for indulging me in listening to me ramble about this little character I made. If you make characters too, I love hearing about other people's characters, so if you're an artist and you've drawn characters of your own, like share a link with me, or just in the description, just put about your characters and let me know. I'm gonna draw more of my own personal characters at some point too. I have many dumb characters. I ended up being really happy with how the lighting looked in here. I wanted to do like some sort of weird honeycomb background, but I ended up not knowing what I wanted to do, and I think the color is very in your face, so I just went with more like the smoke theme, tendrils and stuff. And I like the blue background. I just think it's a very lovely soft color, and I think the plain background against the detail of the colors I used in his skin, I just really enjoy that. Adjust the smoke, and pretty good. Sign it. It's good stuff. So that's the finished piece. I'm very happy with it. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you guys next time.